So Gina was Undersecretary for Policy, Massachusetts Office of Energy Affairs, Commissioner, Connecticut Department of Environmental Affairs, Assistant Administrator for Air, I think it was, and now EPA Administrator. As such, Gina, from the U.S. perspective, from my view of the U.S., of how we're doing, is the point of the spear in the fight against climate change. President Obama has announced that he will work with Congress wherever he can, but will not be held hostage. We'll move forward and do the utmost, we hope, through executive authority and through the agencies. The Supreme Court has noted that EPA has authority under Clean Air Act and also other authorities under Clean Water Act. And so EPA is marching forward and taking actions right now, which is really, really important. And so what we're going to hear now is from Gina about what EPA is doing. She's got some, I think, some important announcements about some actions that are being taken now by EPA. So some news, so listen up. And on that, I'm simply going to hand the microphone. Gina, thank you so much.
Thanks, Peter. It's great to be here. Good morning, everyone. It is morning. Wait a minute. Oh, it is still morning. It seems like a long day already. It's great to be here. And Peter, thanks so much. And thanks for the council for pulling together another terrific conference. You know, Tuesday night, we heard the president, our President Obama, say that the nation that goes all in on innovation today will own the global economy tomorrow. Because he knows, and I think we know, that science and research and innovation are critical to keeping that competitive edge in our country. We all, I think, can agree with that. From keeping our air clean and our water clean to combating climate change, science has always been and will always be at the heart of the mission of the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Science helped build the environmental movement that led to our landmark environmental laws at a pivotal time in the history of this country, at a time when the health of this country and its people were at significant risk. Just think, science showed us beyond a doubt the deadly effects of a destroyed ozone layer. We are fixing that. The dangers of mercury and arsenic poisoning, we are still addressing those issues. And the threat of smog and particulate matter, the threat to our health, and especially the threat to our children. And science research and discovery are what allows us to discuss, to debate, and to develop the very best solutions to meet those tremendous challenges. Now, all of our priorities at EPA are about protecting public health and the environment, and they are all grounded in strong science. Among them are two that are highest on my priority list: protecting our precious water resources and combating climate change. And that's what I want to focus on my remarks today. How using science to build climate solutions is helping us secure a future for our children that is safer, that is healthier, and that is more prosperous than ever before. In the State of the Union, you heard President Obama essentially double down on his commitment to act on climate change while we continue to grow the economy. A commitment he made clear in his Climate Action Plan, which he released last June, which aims to curb carbon pollution, to build climate resiliencies in our cities and our towns, and to lead the world towards a sustainable, clean energy future. Science is critical to each part of the plan, and at EPA, it's science that is going to help lead us towards flexible, common sense standards to curb carbon pollution in a meaningful and aggressive way to protect our planet and the human beings that reside here. But to get there, we're making science sure that everyone's voice is heard. It's not just about the science, it's about communicating the science. It's about getting people engaged. Just today, just like the 60s, it's about grassroots organizing, getting people engaged in the problems, in the challenges, in the solutions. Now we are reaching out to businesses, to advocacy groups, to industry, to students, to our faith leaders, to consumer organizations. Our door is now and will remain wide open to anybody that wants to contribute to both understanding the challenges we're facing and what solutions make sense for us as a country. Science is also helping us with the important job of addressing resiliency, what we used to call climate adaptation, which is understanding that climate impacts are already happening. In fact, in 2012, this country spent $110 billion addressing disaster relief because of extreme weather events. 1 year off budget that we had to address. And science is going to get us where we need to go, because we are bringing tools to the table to help our communities address climate resiliency, to ensure that we can adapt to the changing climate that we know, regardless of the efforts we take to reduce greenhouse gases, are happening today and will continue to happen. And one of those tools is our National Stormwater Calculator. Last summer, EPA released Phase 1 of the National Stormwater Calculator and our Climate Assessment Tool package. Today, I'm proud to announce that we're releasing Phase 2. It's grown up, senior, junior. We're doing better. The Stormwater Calculator is used to estimate the annual amount of stormwater runoff at a specific site. Phase 2 now will include updates, and those updates will include different data variations so that we can look at different future climate scenarios. We've made our calculator resilient as well. Now that means it's going to be more effective. It's going to be more effective as a tool today and as we move forward. In using that tool, you can make judgments now about what kinds of green infrastructure strategies, like rain barrels and rain gardens, can reduce stormwater runoff and build safer, more resilient water systems in a cost-effective way. Another factor threatening our water resources and our families nationwide is not just climate change, but nutrient pollution. It's one of America's most widespread and costly environmental problems. And it's created by having excess nitrogen and phosphorus that comes from runoff. Runoff from our residential areas, our yards, runoffs from agriculture, industrial discharges, everything from every industry down to your power plants and more. And states have identified about 15,000 water bodies in the U.S. alone that have nutrient-related problems. That is 15,000 water bodies. Curbing nutrient pollution protects public health and will keep America's water safe to swim, to fish, and most importantly, to drink. That's why I'm proud to announce today that EPA is awarding nearly $9 million in grants through our Science to Achieve Results program. And these grants will support 4 research institutions across the country. Now let me explain what they're going to do. These investments will be about water research. Again, investing in fundamental science we need that will help us better manage nutrients and better protect our nation's precious water resources. Let me tell you who the 4 recipients are. First, Penn State. They're going to look at nutrient flows in the Pennsylvania and the Chesapeake Basin. We have the University of South Florida that will be examining coastal areas like Tampa Bay that have problems with aging water infrastructure collection and treatment, and they're dealing also with rapid population growth. You could use those same characteristics to describe many, many of the urban areas in the U.S. today, which is why this work is so important. Colorado State will be looking at the links between physical, biological, legal, social, and economic factors of nutrient management in a number of different regions. And the Water Environment Research Foundation, they'll be building innovative research that we hope will reduce nutrient pollution by recovering nutrients from wastewaters for use as valuable resources. And when it comes to nutrient pollution and other dangers associated with our water systems, we simply can't ignore the impact of climate on those challenges. Climate change, if you will, puts our water challenges on steroids, and we need to understand that. We need to understand how it's making these challenges more difficult, and we need to understand how we can offer solutions that are more sustainable, that look at the challenges today and recognize how those challenges are going to change in the future so investments can be best directed. Climate resilience and strong sustainable water infrastructure have to go hand in hand. And science, again, is the key to unlocking those solutions moving forward. When it comes to climate, our scientists are making sure utilities have the data they need to effectively treat water and respond to extreme weather events. They're helping water quality managers to protect critical river ecosystems, knowing that climate change disrupts flow patterns and increases flood risk in watersheds across the country. I can remember having a conversation with our Region 7 administrator in Kansas last summer when he was challenged with two regions in Kansas, one of which was in a severe drought, the other of which was underwater because it had too much rain. These are the challenges we need to not run away from, and that the President is challenging us to begin to take action to address. In short, science is critical to safe environment and better public health. It's also a key to a strong economy, because our communities must feel that they are living in safe, livable, sustainable communities. And we know that we don't have to sacrifice a healthy economy for a healthy environment. We just need to look at the past history in the U.S., and we need to understand that, and we need to share the facts with everybody moving forward so that they're not afraid to take action on climate, just as we have on other traditional pollutants so successfully. If you look at the success of the Clean Air Act, every dollar that we have invested for the past 40-plus years to comply with the Clean Air Act has actually netted us in return $4 to $8 in economic benefits. That's because we have made people's lives healthier by addressing challenges to public health and the environment. And the same thing can happen when we're supporting efforts on climate. In particular, we need to support local efforts to build climate resilience. States and cities are already leading the way because climate impacts harm water supplies or small businesses at the local level. The costs of inaction to mayors across this country are very, very clear. The costs of inaction to states are very, very clear. It is only the federal government that's a little late to the climate table. Not anymore. Not now. That's what President Obama told the American public 2 nights ago. That's where we are, and that is where EPA is going to be. We are taking the action that the American public knows we should take to keep them safe and healthy in their communities moving forward. 35 states already have renewable fuel standards. Do you think they're doing that so that they can make sure they're bringing the economy of their state down? They're doing it because in this country, as a result of all of the efforts over the last 5 years, we have doubled energy generation from renewables. We now have solar that competes against fossil fuel. Solar that competes. That wasn't done because policymakers sat in a room talking amongst themselves. It was done because we found a way to unleash the power of innovation in this country and get scientists and technical people working together to bring solutions to the table. Do you know, 25 states have energy efficiency standards. Did they do that because they wanted to make sure to increase the price of electricity to their consumers? They did it because it's the cheapest, most effective way to bring the price of electricity down for people because it kept energy demand down. It also has the ancillary benefit of reducing carbon emissions and reducing the threat from traditional pollutants that we all know so well. We have 1,000 mayors that have already signed up to carbon reduction targets. They're doing it because the people they see at the supermarket every day, the people they go to church with every day, the people that they serve are demanding action. They want to be safe. They want to know that the U.S. is out in front. They want an energy supply system in the United States that's second to none. They want an infrastructure for their water and wastewater so they can have clean water to drink and they can know that their rivers are safe to swim and for the fish that provides them such tremendous food and recreational opportunities. They want to know that we're addressing issues of drought and wildfires. They don't want droughts and heavy rains to be making our farmlands unsuitable and unproductive to serve the needs of the U.S. and beyond. And all in all, we know that science is critical to all of these efforts moving forward. Now, when I say this, I'm not trying to remove from my shoulders the task ahead to address climate change. But actually, I'm trying to get all of your shoulders lining up with mine. This is a burden we all share, but it is also a gift to us. It's an opportunity for us to once again step up and do what we all do so well, which is to work together for the benefit of all of the people in this world that we serve. And we know, again, that we can do this if we work together. The President has launched a climate change plan that I believe will put the U.S. back in a position of leadership internationally on issues of climate, because we know that these challenges are global, not local. EPA is bringing tools to the table like the stormwater calculator. We have a task force now that's looking at how to do resiliency, not just in a few cities and towns, but how we can do it across the U.S. in a way that provides the kind of information to our local leaders and our state governors who want to be sure that they are providing safe, livable communities. From protecting our water to combating climate change, the challenges we face are steep. We are not running away from that fact or ignoring it. In fact, what we're doing right now is pivoting from denial to action at a time in our history where action is needed more than ever before. We have to be courageous. We also have to be smart. S-M-A-R-T, just in case someone isn't from Boston. We need to address carbon, C-A-R-B-O-N, in a way that the people we serve feel like we're doing the job we're supposed to do, and in a way where we unleash the innovation in the United States so that we are maintaining a leadership position internationally. But scientists, you folks, help us understand our world. You help EPA to meet our mission of public health protection and environmental protection. I need you now more than ever to speak the truth. I need you to stand up together with us and explain what the science is telling you. To tell people that science and technology improvements will allow us to take action moving forward that meets the needs of this president as he has charged EPA, which is to look at climate change as something where we can innovate and we can move forward to grow the economy, to grow jobs, to understand how we're producing sustainable, livable communities. And we can do it in a way that is collaborative with the business sector, that challenges advocacy groups to stand shoulder to shoulder with all of us and move forward. Now, in closing, last night, President Obama, I think, made one of the most significant statements, at least that I have heard a president make for a long time. He not only embraced the challenge of climate change, but he put it in a perspective I think that every mother like me can embrace, and I'm sure every father would consider important as well. He said, when our kids look us in the eye and ask if we did all we could to leave them a safer, more stable world, we all want to be able to say, yes, we did. I am here today to tell you that EPA can and will meet that challenge. Every individual at EPA works every day as hard as they can for exactly this reason. We will now bring our energy and our passion to the table to address what we know is the most critical public health challenge of our time. That's the challenge of climate change. And you are going to help us not only identify the problems, but to find those opportunities and those solutions that will keep the U.S. out in front and address this significant global challenge. Thank you all very much for all that you do. Okay.
Thank you, Gina. I have a very large number of questions here. We do not have time to ask them all.
I'll give quick answers.
So brief answers. Okay. First question. That's a big one. Okay. What's next for carbon emissions from power plants?
What's next? Well, we have two things. One is we have put out a proposal to take a look at what technologies are available moving forward for new power plants. We're in the comment period, so feel free. Join the millions of others that are going to comment on this, and we'd love to hear from you. But really, we are looking at developing a pathway moving forward for the cleanest, lowest carbon emission sources we can using fossil fuel. On the second front, we are looking at developing a proposal for reducing carbon emissions from existing power plants. That'll be coming out at the beginning of June. That is work that we've already begun with a ton of outreach and listening sessions across the country before we even put pen to paper. The great thing about the existing power plant rule is that it's provided us an opportunity to talk to states and utilities, as well as folks that are concerned about these issues, to see what flexibility we can bring to the table to drive down carbon emissions from the power sector in ways that rely on efficiencies and renewables and other great things that are already under development and are so meaningful to a clean energy economy.
Excellent. Okay, I had a large number of questions, and I'm just going to summarize into one word: fracking.
Fracking. Fracking. I'm going to tell you something that is not well known. We actually have issued a regulation to address methane emissions from fracking operations at natural gas wells. Does anybody know this to be the case? See? It's such a secret. You know why nobody knows it? Because nobody yelled about it. You know why nobody yelled about it? Because the technology is there and it's available and we can use it. It actually saves money. Because instead of venting methane, guess what you're doing? You're putting it in a pipeline and selling it. So we can get at issues associated with methane emissions from every portion of the natural gas supply system in ways that reduce the greenhouse gas footprint in a way that recognizes that the transition to a clean energy economy doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. And while we're building efficiency from renewables, doubling it over the past 4 years, we are going to continue to drive carbon emissions from fossil fuels in the meantime, and we are going to welcome your innovation to help bring those renewables to the table.
Excellent. Final, there's so many good ones here. How do you reconcile the push for rapidly increasing fossil fuel production in the United States with reducing carbon emissions?
Well, you know, the interesting thing about what's going on in the United States is that with the advent of really inexpensive natural gas, what we're really seeing is a significant shift from coal to natural gas generation. But in addition, we are seeing a lot of opportunities for renewables. I was in Davos last week at the Economic Forum, and I was so excited to talk to investors who are investing huge chunks of change in the U.S. on renewables. Solar right now is at a place in time that many predicted ages ago would never be the case. We are having states like Nevada actually go out and seek solar because it's competitive with their fossil fuel supplies. We are seeing an ability, as we did in the first part of the Obama administration, to work with our automobile manufacturers and to drive up fuel economy, drive down greenhouse gases, and build the cars of the future that people want to see today. So don't tell me that we can't have it all, because it's all or nothing here, guys. We are going to do this right.
Excellent. You asked for input. Actually, for the last 2 days, the 1,100 people here at the conference have been working on a number of solutions. Many of them connect to EPA. So I'm going to give you right now the first cut, the raw data, if you will, of strategies and solutions that were developed in a number of areas by the participants of the conference. Share it with your staff, and we'll be happy to follow up with you at some appropriate time in the future.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
And the last card said, "Go Red Sox."
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was hoping it would say "Go Pats," but I'll take "Go Red Sox." Thanks, everybody.
My wife is from Boston, and she just sent me a message. Doesn't she have a great accent? If the next plenary would come to the table, it'd be very much appreciated. Come to the chairs. We'll get started on the next one. If you don't feel optimistic after